In today's episode of EU4, I'll play as the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in the year 1764, during the reign of the last elected king, Stanisław August Poniatowski. As we all know, during his rule, 30 years later, Poland ceased to exist and disappeared from the map of Europe. I cannot allow this to happen and will try to prevent it. Additionally, I am giving myself 100 years to turn Poland into a global power once again. I will play this campaign using the extended timeline mod and select the highest difficulty level. Welcome Imperialists, Lucas here! Of course, if you have any ideas about what could appear as part of alternate history on my channel, feel free to share them in the comments. You can definitely expect an episode about the 30 Years' War or the War of the Cambrai League, since these suggestions come up under every episode of this series. So that's a certainty. My dear viewers, Poland's situation isn't entirely bad. We have Gdansk, which means that my poor Poland is actually running a surplus. The problem, however, is technology. I am significantly behind compared to most neighboring countries by as much as 3 levels. Although I wouldn't want to trade places with Crimea. The ideas I have chosen here are quite odd. Probably not what I would have picked if I were playing from the start, but it's not too bad. These policies are workable. I still have an elective monarchy, which shouldn't surprise me at all. But a number of other choices here are quite decent, such as infrastructure development, which reduces my development costs. Pretty handy, as is the cheaper technology. But where are my bonuses for the hussars, I ask? I think my national ideas are standard, so yes, I have stronger hussars and I'll be focusing on cavalry, it makes sense, especially when you look at unit pips, cavalry still holds its ground. As for the Polish mission tree, well, I probably won't be making much use of it initially. However, over time, I should be able to complete the central part, which will significantly strengthen my economy. Let's be honest though, Poland on the international stage during this period wouldn't have been able to achieve much alone, so let's start with diplomacy. And that won't be easy given how Poland is perceived around the world. Basically, most countries either hate me or at best tolerate me. I think forming an alliance with Austria will be the easiest route to take. Although, historically speaking, that wouldn't have been very likely. So, if you play after me, go for a royal marriage and alliance with Austria. I won't be doing that. For rivals, I'll pick Prussia and Sweden first, leaving the third spot open for now, but what I will do is greatly insult Spain. This should make it easier to improve relations with France, as I'm very close to forming a royal marriage between our countries. I recruit an advisor with diplomatic reputation and take the religious diplomat's privilege. This finally allows me to secure the royal marriage with France. Forming an alliance will be harder, but I'll work on improving relations with France in the future. Regarding privileges, I'm only taking the most necessary ones. Remember, we already have absolutism. Yes, I know Poland doesn't rely much on it, but maybe I can get rid of this elective monarchy. We'll see. Frankly, my country needs a strong, good old-fashioned absolute monarchy. For the first policies, I have chosen those that will be most useful to me. Reduced idea costs, increased trade power, and increased trade efficiency. I'll also improve relations with Kurland, which is after all my vassal. I checked that I'm terrified of Austria. And I mean that seriously. That country has 4 times the army I do and better technology. I'll also try to establish diplomatic relations with larger Italian or German states. We'll see what I can manage here. The most important part of my plan to rebuild Poland is, of course, catching up on technology. This is crucial. But we'll do it faster if my economy is solid at the start. It so happens that in this mode, we can achieve this in many more ways than in the base game. I also notice a significant difference in churches. They don't boost tax revenue here. They only improve provincial stability. But government buildings increase my tax revenue and provide additional bonuses later. Trade, however, isn't a good investment. My income is too small in almost every node. I'm losing to Austria and Prussia. It's just not feasible. A shared rival with France would help, but that seems unlikely, so I've chosen Venice as a common rival. Not with France, but it should improve my relations with Sardinia-Piedmont and the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies. I managed to secure an alliance with Sardinia-Piedmont and shortly after with the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies. At the same time, I'm still very close to forming an alliance with France. Meanwhile, developing Krakow will be very important for me. There's coal in this province. It will appear once I reach tech level 78. Level 78? That late? No matter, it's very important for income, so I'll develop this province as much as I can using diplomatic points. It's the only tech I won't focus on catching up. The second province I'll develop is Lublin. It also has coal. It worked, I secured the alliance with France at last. To solidify this alliance, I'm sending a diplomat to build up favors. I'm also sending a diplomat to spy on Russia. Remember, a strong spy network lowers tech costs. And honestly, the chance of my spy being detected is lowest in Russia at the moment. I'm also taking out my first loans. For now, I'll handle them cautiously. The loans will first fund universities, since they reduce development costs. So Krakow and Lublin get universities. After universities, I'll focus on production buildings. I'll also make my ruler a general and have him train the army. Maybe he'll be struck by an arrow. The heir looks much better, though he's old. To be honest, I've come up with a terrible plan. I'll expand my navy because maybe we'll establish Polish colonies in Africa. Since a Franco-Ottoman alliance has been formed, I'll now work on improving relations with the Ottoman Empire, especially since they no longer hate me. The Ottoman Empire could be a good counterweight against Austria or Russia. As for Russia, their tech cost reduction is 16%. Wow. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm attacking Jolov, a country without strong allies, using the imperialism casus belli. I'm sending Poland's first expedition under King Stanisław Poniatowski to Africa. I'll definitely need reinforcements there. Once they arrive, I'll bombard the fortress and destroy Jolov's army. However, I won't conquer everything, just enough to gain quick access to gold. That's why I'm now focusing on conquering other countries using imperialism, especially since, from what I see, I'm not the only one who has adopted this empire building strategy. However, I'll slightly adjust my plans because it looks like Fulo could be quite a good vassal for generating financial benefits. The only condition is that their ruler has to die. Their ideas include bonuses to production, trade power, and increased manpower. Pretty decent bonuses. I'm using trust points with all the countries to improve and solidify my relations with my allies. Before further conquests, I'd really benefit from introducing imperialism into my country. Lower integration costs for new provinces by 20%, but I don't have it, so I'll have to manage without it. I conquer practically all of Segu, except for one province that's under occupation by another country. This gives me quite a lot of aggressive expansion, but I don't think anyone really cares. Before handing over these provinces to my vassal, I loot them for development points. Most of the territories I've conquered have been handed over to Fulo, but I've kept the wealthier provinces for myself, especially those rich in gold. Interesting, is that where a colony is being established by another country? That's concerning. I'd really hate to lose my provinces with gold. The province of Galam has been converted to the one true faith, autonomy has been lowered, and now I can finally develop my gold mines. I won't tolerate rebellions. Fortunately, no colony has formed in my territory, so the 3 provinces with gold remain mine. Since I now have an heir from the Bourbon dynasty, and frankly he's quite decent, I abdicate Poniatowski. I'm not going to lie, this feels like some kind of reincarnation. Maybe not exactly, but he stays. He'll even collect higher taxes, a true Pole. I also have the opportunity to reform my military, which I'll definitely do. And finally, I've upgraded my 3 gold mines to level 10, which has essentially doubled my total income. Now I just need to figure out how to acquire 2 more gold mines. I could wage a succession war for Sardinia-Piedmont now, but I don't think I will. Austria and the Ottoman Empire are at war, so I'll try to take advantage of my 3-level technological superiority over the Ottomans and aim to seize Constantinople before Austria does. For now, my troops are stationed near Constantinople and I've even bombarded its walls. Wow, 100,000 Ottoman troops, and they attacked me without a commander. Despite losing, I managed to regroup with a larger army. From what I can see, Constantinople fell shortly after and now Russia has attacked. Well, that's probably the end of the Ottomans. I can't believe it, but I somehow managed to reach Anatolia. I'm even racing for Egypt, who will get to Cairo first, and Russians are already there. Oh no, my army likely won't be useful anymore, so I'm retreating to my territory. The Ottoman Empire is even willing to accept these peace terms. 4,500 gold and 10 years of war reparations, I'll take it. This might save me from the planned bankruptcy, or at least make it less severe. Oh, but the inflation. The Ottoman Empire is definitely on the brink of collapse. Alright, first I'm building counting houses as they're quickest, then I'll focus on constructing manufactories. Nicholas Copernicus was born a bit late, but I won't question it. A revolution in the Ottoman Empire. Seriously, the Ottoman Empire has a more interesting campaign than my Poland. Pretender rebels. But you know what's best about them? They've got a really decent ruler and his name is Andrei. I'll lose the ruler from the Bourbon dynasty, but oh well. Long live Andrei I Nemirovich, he's so young. A few years later, I managed to increase Poland's income to 110 gold, which is quite a decent result. I even started appearing on the rankings. Still, I was far behind my potential opponents, especially Austria and Russia, although it seems I finally surpassed Prussia. What I'm most proud of, though, is the ability to take loans. I can now take 108 loans of 310 gold each instead of just 20 loans of 200 gold. So I'm going to start indebting the country, planning to declare bankruptcy at the right moment. First, I'm building manufactories everywhere. The revolutionary Ottoman Empire. Not much of it remains, but it could be an interesting country now. Alright, although it's very weak, so I won't seek an alliance with them for now, Sardinia-Piedmont has also ceased to exist, so I'll probably break that alliance. The first and likely only advancement from this era is the artillery damage bonus, which is very strong. I also replaced one of my older ideas with espionage ideas to strengthen my cavalry. I'm upgrading all my better provinces, especially those producing cloth, to level 10 or rather to level 15. This also allows me to develop infrastructure in those provinces and remember to build universities there. After taking another round of loans, I'm constructing counting houses across the country. And beautifully, all of Poland is being built up. After all this, I think I might be able to repay my debt. But then again, that's pointless for now, so I'm focusing on building universities everywhere to reduce the cost of developing all provinces. I need to reduce inflation, as it's quite high. I'm also constructing buildings to increase my army limit. That's non-negotiable. Wow, thanks to developing provinces, I've now become one of the global powers and my ruler has more expensive buildings. Great. Alright, I'll deal with those last provinces after declaring bankruptcy, so as not to prolong everything, now I'm waiting until February 1st, 2022 to declare bankruptcy and I'll be ready for wars around 1930. Building up Poland cost me only 93 loans, about 30,000 gold. Not too much. I also managed to increase France's trust towards us to nearly 100 points, so there's a good chance they won't break the alliance when I declare bankruptcy. That's why I've delayed it so much. Otherwise, there was a high chance I'd get dragged into a war and end up like the Ottoman Empire. Or worse, like in real history, with Poland disappearing from the map. Wait, am I suddenly an expensive target for conquest? Wow, because I started with barely 100 points. Maybe it's worth becoming revolutionary Poland? Although, from what I see, revolutions start with terrible rulers, so I'll try to hold it off for now. My current ruler is excellent and revolutions don't progress when stability is at 3. Austria just eradicated the revolution globally, literally wiping out all revolutionary nations. Well, I'm too late. Even if I wanted to become a revolution, I can't now. On January 1st, I'm dismissing all my advisors to avoid losing them, as I'm unsure whether they're retained after bankruptcy. I'm also disabling all forts and maxing out debt to upgrade the monument in Krakow. Higher production is always good, and monuments don't reset after bankruptcy. Now I have 58,000 gold in loans, 18% inflation, which I'll reduce since I'm losing all points anyway. And I declare bankruptcy. Yeah, I got all the negative modifiers, but my income is solid, and I kept all my manufactories and production buildings except for a few where I forgot. Wait, didn't bankruptcy used to apply a huge diplomatic reputation penalty? I thought there was some massive punishment, but it's not that bad. The problem is devastation, so I've built forts practically everywhere. In provinces without forts, I'll develop them using development points to lower devastation. Let's hope nobody attacks me before January 28th. Seriously, fingers crossed. I'm rehiring advisors right away, even though they now cost 50% more. It looks like I'm lucky. My enemies are attacking countries far away from me. As long as they're occupied with those wars, they won't attack me since AI almost never wages two offensive wars simultaneously. I'm now upgrading infrastructure in all provinces with cattle or grain, focusing on cheap ones, to bring them to level 15. This will let me add a second manpower building there, level 15 also because of infrastructure. I forgot to mention that earlier. For now my manpower growth is very low, but I'd like to increase it to at least 1,500, maybe 2,000. Great, the bankruptcy period is over. I'm making good money now and only owe loans to the burghers. Things are looking up. I'll be ready to attack soon, once I introduce new technology and fix my manpower reserves. I'm also removing regular cavalry from my army and replacing it with better units since I now have both hussars and Cossacks. Oh my god, these new cannons are so much better than the old ones. They're going to wreak havoc. The time has come for the first major war. I just repaid France, which is why I have so little money, but now they're eager to help in my wars against Prussia. Russia will join on Prussia's side, but I hope I can neutralize them somehow. My goal will be a nationalism casus belli on some coastal province to seize it quickly. Oh, or maybe this province since it has a fort. As you can see, the forces are in favor of my opponents. I'm also infiltrating the Prussian administration to see where their armies are located. And great, there aren't many here. Wait, why did Denmark join the war? Oh no, life is always an uphill battle. This war might be tough. For now, I'll adopt a different strategy, targeting smaller enemy armies and leveraging my artillery and cavalry quality advantages. The Danish army is no match for me, but I really need more discipline. So I'll sacrifice my ruler's military points to get a bonus to discipline and morale. I'm also hiring one of the largest mercenary companies. They have a lot of infantry and will serve as cannon fodder. And good news, Prussia's manpower is now depleted. Now that France has arrived, Prussia will likely be completely overrun. Soon I'll withdraw to focus on the Russians, aiming to get them out of the war as quickly as possible. Although I must admit, France is doing remarkably well against Russia so far. Still, the Russian army, god, it's so formidable. If I manage to divide their forces, I can inflict losses, especially here at the fortresses. To make life harder for my enemies, I'm leveraging all my espionage tools. That negative 20% to manpower is quite significant. After capturing St. Petersburg, I'm very close to forcing Russia out of the war. So even though I lost a battle here, I don't hesitate. I take a white peace with the Russians. Jesus, the losses, and mostly on my side. I immediately pulled my troops back to Silesia to secure it for myself. I also need to retake a few of my fortresses. Not going to lie, this is proving to be quite problematic. Now the war is progressing rather smoothly, I'm simply occupying my provinces. Manpower-wise things are grim, but I'll try to rebuild it after the war. It is what it is. From Prussia, I'm taking everything I wanted and most importantly severing their alliance with Russia. Phew, things should be smoother from here. But man, this war was too bloody. It's a sign that I picked the wrong ideas for my country. There's also a good chance Denmark will soon break free from the Prussian personal union, or maybe Portugal will attack them instead. I focused on taking Silesia because in Opel and Ratsibors I also have access to coal. Now I just need administrative technology to unlock it, and it will give us a massive boost. Once again, I'm building factories in key provinces. They are insanely expensive, but they further reduce development costs. I also swapped my defensive ideas for quality ones, which cost me a lot of military points. And now I'm replacing my early administrative ideas with economic ones. After capturing all of Königsberg, I'm moving my main trade to Gdansk. The new emperor is no longer Austria. Well, there's not much left of the empire anyway. On the bright side, Spain, for some reason, attacked Austria. Or maybe Austria attacked Spain, whatever. This could be a good moment to strike at Austria. I'm just worried about their technology advantage as it provides superior infantry. So I'm lowering recruitment standards, activating the fortresses to replenish them, and with nationalism casus belli and France's help, declaring war on Austria. But my troops are right next to the Austrian forces. I'll wait a bit longer before engaging. In the meantime, I'm upgrading my infantry. I got lucky. The Austrian troops are on the wrong side of the border. French forces are here, so there's a good chance they'll clash. Meanwhile, I'm capturing fortresses on my side and my troops are already near Vienna. Honestly, I wouldn't have stood a chance in a one-on-one war against Austria. My only saving grace is that they're fighting on a second front. Man, it's been a long time since I played on this difficulty level. Unfortunately, I'm losing fortresses I've captured. It's pointless to fight these battles as they outnumber me. I underestimated this difficulty level. I should have had a 200,000 strong army, not 100,000 before attacking. I can't do much on my own. I'll have to wait for them to return to the border with France and Spain before I can strike again at those fortresses. Even with 2 penalties, I stand no chance here. As long as I can, I'll try to inflict casualties to weaken them further. In the fire phase, they have a clear advantage. In the shock phase, I usually deal more damage, but it depends on the rolls. Ultimately, I inflict decent losses, but probably not enough. That moment when your discipline advisor dies mid-war and you can't find a replacement. If you've watched this far, write Sad Lucas in the comments and I'll pin a heart for you. I'm exploiting the fact that the Austrian army has now split into smaller units. Not every group has a commander and I'm breaking them apart at my fortresses. They literally went around and are now at my forts. I don't understand this. There's literally a 300 Spartans moment where a tiny group has stopped me. My morale is abysmally low. I don't know why. I mean, I'm paying my army. I'm now withdrawing all these smaller states from the war as quickly as possible. This seems like a turning point in the war. Jesus, how tenacious they are. They don't even have artillery, yet I can't seem to break through their defenses. What's wrong with this mod? I think cavalry completely sucks with this mod, seriously. Alright, I'm done with this war really. I've reclaimed nearly all ethnic Polish lands and territories with my claims. I'm also taking war reparations. This might trigger a coalition, but I couldn't care less since they're small states. This war was much better, less bloody for me than the previous one against Prussia, but still challenging. Don't tell me I'm getting 46 gold in war reparations from Austria. What's their income? 455 gold. Oh great, last time I played very hard on this mod. The larger the country, the harder it is to surpass. Finally, coal is starting to appear, meaning someone somewhere developed Administrative Technology 78. Fantastic, time to start building it. Each of these buildings provides a 5% production boost across my entire country. I'm also introducing the urbanization edict reform across my nation. This increases my production of goods by as much as 33%. And I unlocked it at level 13, which gave me proper bureaucracy. The economy should start booming now. I'm making 300 gold net profit. Time to establish the national bank, yay! I prefer having lower interest rates. Alright, I've rebuilt my manpower. Now I'm doing this. I'm changing all my edicts to ones that increase manpower by an additional 25%, and I'm lowering recruitment standards again. I should replenish my reserves fairly quickly. I can also finally become the Polish Empire. At this point, I'm the 5th great power globally. I'm not sure if I can beat Russia, or if it's even possible. Although economically, I am somewhat close to it. But this might be because, as I look around, bots hardly build anything. I see a factory here and there, and that's about it. Meanwhile, my provinces are mostly maxed out with buildings similar to Krakow. Wait, Czech nationalism and a rebellion? Why? I think I have an opportunity here. Most of the Russian forces are deep in Asia, so I will attack them, even with an imperialism casus belli. Granted, I won't have allies assisting me because they're currently under a truce with Russia. I won't lie, I'm hoping to call France into the war as soon as their peace treaty with Russia expires. My armies are ready, but without French forces assisting me, I'll be pretty I'll even pay France's debts again. The only good news is that because the Russians have been constantly warring, they haven't upgraded any fortresses. Most of them are still level 2 or 4 at most. I won't rush my attack on Russia, I'll keep my armies close to ensure they can cooperate. Here, attrition is always the biggest enemy, though for now it's not too bad. Jesus, how on earth do tiny Prussia have 80,000 troops? Alright, but I can get them out of this war without taking anything from them. Sure, a war with Russia, and now a revolution starts as well. I think the Russians have started recalling their troops. I can see smaller groups heading this way. I'll try to intercept them before they merge into one large army. Wow, I only have a 2% discipline advantage. That's because my ruler died, so I have to re-specialize in military policies. A 7% advantage should make a difference. Or maybe not. The casualties are massive. This institution seems bugged in this mode. It's impossible to trigger it because there's simply no manufactories like this. I think I'll manage to occupy most of the wealthier Western Russian territories before their troops return from Qing. Though it's clear they're winning, Persia doesn't stand a chance against Russian forces. I'm incredibly lucky this war between major powers happened, otherwise Russia would have crushed me. Finally, Russian troops have returned and I can engage them in more battles. But honestly, I'm not relying on hussars much here. I can't even break their forces, let alone when the battles are more evenly matched. So what's the situation? Okay, I see I need reinforcements here because this will be a much bigger battle. I have more discipline, but the Russians still inflict heavier losses on me in battles. I don't know if that's due to dice rolls or something else since I can't check the specifics, but the losses are enormous. Alright, here, by some miracle, I inflicted heavier losses, but that's probably because I had hussars in this army. Near Kazan, I will definitely win since I have an artillery advantage, and there don't seem to be many Russians in the area, so I'll try to crush the Russian army near Vyborg as well. And then I'll wrap up this war because I don't think I can outmatch the bot's endless troops. But what I've gained is mine. Intermarium is becoming a reality. It must be said that in Russia, attrition inflicted the biggest losses on me. That's no surprise considering I moved around with massive stacks. On this mod, anything smaller gets stack wiped if a battle breaks out. But overall, the Commonwealth has significantly expanded. It's much richer than before, and its armies are quite solid. At least it's now considered a global power. We're far from the top one, Russia, but we're on the right path. It was much harder for me to win the historical scenario as Venice in 1508 in the war with the League of Cambrai, especially since I'm fighting there at once against two European powers.